All right, we are live. Everybody should be coming into the room now. I will give them about a minute to filter in, and we'll get going. So a bunch of guys hopping in the room here. We will get going in about 1 minute. With all of these, you should be able to get these on replay very soon. Those are being loaded right back in. You can get the speakers from the last 2 days here. We've just had an incredible group, and I can tell you it's been exciting to be able to introduce these guys and just see the interaction that there's been here, and so appreciative of all these coaches just giving their time and helping the profession. There is a Q&A button there for on the bottom. If you want to ask questions to coach, coach, you can decide when you want those, if you want to ask them, answer those ongoing, or, get them at the end. I had a question here from David Bowen. Where can we find these videos? These videos will be right here within this system. You'll be able to go back through the schedule and see the replays. Those, Peter, I think, are you here? Those will be live sometime today. You'll start seeing those be populated. Is that correct?
Yeah, those should be live at some point today, at least the ones from yesterday.
Awesome. And so we'll be on top of that. Again, thank you to everybody for participating in this. I'll do a quick introduction here. I'm Keith Grabowski. I've known Brent Dearmon for a while now. He has the best listened to episodes on the Coaching Coordinator podcast, and has a playlist out there as well that we call the Master's Class in RPO. If you haven't seen those before, follow me on Twitter at Coach K Grabowski. And we have just an outstanding group of coaches every side of the ball. We're running those 7 days a week for you right now. Typically, we're Monday through Friday. So you can get more football over there. Pop in your earbuds while you're going on your jog, taking a walk, whatever it might be. These guys have been outstanding there and outstanding here on the virtual summit as well. Just a quick message on USA Football. We've done some outstanding things for coaches with the football development model, and go to usafootball.com to learn more about it. I'll tell you this, for you as the high school coach, takes the heavy lift out of running your youth program and getting that organized and having resources for them. There's even a new app for that. So please check that out at usafootball.com. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Coach Dearmon here. Coach Dearmon has just done an outstanding job since the time I met him while he was the OC at Arkansas Tech. Then went on to be the head coach at NAIA Bethel. Came over to KU as an analyst, and in the middle of the year there, took over as the offensive coordinator. I'm so excited for what he's doing and excited that he's presenting here. Coach, take it away with RPOs.
Thank you for having me today, Keith. I hope everybody can see me. I've kind of put a dry erase board in my basement so I can do these clinics, talk to people. We also double this board for some math and subtraction problems as well for my 8 and 6-year-old. So today we're going to get into how we teach RPOs. If anybody's ever read the book, watched some of the videos, we kind of pride ourselves on teaching it a little bit different than most people. My dad was an O-line coach for 42 years, high school O-line coach. So I had to understand leverage and understand gaps and understand blocking schemes at an early age, and that kind of helped me evolve this system. I spent 2 years with Coach Malzahn at Auburn, and we've taken the interior box that I learned at Auburn with the inside zone, power counter, buck sweep, those base run schemes, and we've kind of added to it with the outside edge throwing. So today I want to teach how we teach it, because I'm big on teaching a man how to fish. Instead of me giving you fish, I'm going to teach you how we fish. And that way you can go and fit it to your system, fit it to what you guys do at your schools. So the first thing that we do, can everybody see me? I want to kind of make sure we're good to go.
Yeah, we got you, Coach.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. All right. I'm just staring at a screen of myself here. So just making sure. All right, the first thing that we teach is we teach our quarterback gaps. So I'm going to draw in big letters here, and I'm going to try. This is my first screen sharing experience. So I'm going to try to go and I've got some video pulled up on our XOs that I'll try to integrate in so everybody can see that here as well. So day one, when I'm talking about quarterbacks, I teach them as simple as this is. What is A gap? What is B gap? What is C gap? And they understand every gap. They understand gaps the same way we're going to understand gaps in the protections on the man and slide side of protection. So first thing I talk to quarterbacks about is gaps. The second thing that we get into is I start talking about split field coverage. So I'm going to erase a little bit of that and draw a little bit smaller O-line here. So if I'm in left hash, I'm going to split the field in half. And they're going to play some type of field coverage, and they're going to play some type of boundary coverage. Doesn't matter where your D-line's at, but what coverage are they going to play to the field? What coverage are they playing into the boundary? So to give my first example, I always come in and say, most of our plays, our O-line and fullback, H-back are going to handle from C gap to C gap. And I'm going to ask you as a quarterback to handle the D gap fitter. So base covers that a lot of people are doing just old school apex cover pull. So who's in the D gap? The D gap fitter is now that Sam linebacker. So whatever RPO I designed for this team that we're playing has to affect that Sam linebacker's run and pass fit. So his run fit is either the D gap fit, or they may be trying to do something with the end where he can fold underneath it and he's the C gap fitter. One way or the other, he's the extra fitter to the field. And then they are usually going to ask him to get hands on to and then get out to the flats. So I've got to affect him and pull him into his fit, and something has to get in that area right there if I'm playing against that coverage this week. All right, use a look into the boundary. Cover two. We're going to start off with a cover two or a trap two, where that corner is going to fit inside and the safety is going to get over the top of one. If they're going to be a trap team into the boundary, then that C gap or that D gap player, that corner is my D gap fitter now. So he's going to be the D gap player that I will read. And then I've got to get into that area there some kind of way with my RPO, whether it's an expanded hitch, whether it's a speed out, some way I've got to get in that area that week. All right. So we've got base RPOs, but then you see how we weekly can scheme RPOs. All right. So now I'm going to give another example. I'm not going to go through every coverage, but I wanted to make sure that everybody understood how the different coverages is going to change the D gap fitter for us. So I'm playing against a team that plays robber. All right, I spent 2 years at Auburn. It's robber-like how Nick Saban plays, kind of his Rip Liz match, too high spin stuff with outside leverage. TCU, Gary Patterson came up, does a great job with teaching this robber coverage into the boundary or to the field. Into the boundary, I'm going to show an invert look, or what looks like cover three into the boundary. They put in that boundary safety, we call it a rover. They're putting him down right now in the immediate fit with a cover three corner. So for us, my quarterback's going to ID this coverage as robber to the field and invert to the boundary. So if we're any passing game, that's what we're going to call it. But when I call RPOs, when I call D gap RPOs, the D gap fitter now is no longer the Sam linebacker. So if I'm just teaching him to read the Sam linebacker, he's not going to fix the run fit for me on this coverage here. The run fitter is now that free safety. That free safety is in the D gap space right there. So any of my RPOs for that week, for that team, have to affect this guy to get in his fit, but also have to affect his pass responsibility. His pass responsibility is the middle fourth area of the field right there. So I've got to get more in that space there against this team that week. So if I'm playing against a robber team, I'm expected to get into more of those type of RPOs there. Against invert into the boundary. Invert, now that rover is now my D-gap player. Now, I can call any of my base RPOs And the quarterback's got to figure it out. Instead of me saying all week long, they're going to be an invert team. Well, I'm not just going to see invert all week. I may see trap and invert. So the quarterback has got to figure out by my pre-snap alignment which guy they're going to put into that D gap fit. So in my ride read, if he gets into that D gap, he gets into the box and stops the run, then I've got to get into his pass area with my route. Well, my route has got to get into that hook flat area over there into the boundary. I've got to attack this space because that's where he's going to now try to get into. So you see a lot of middle field area open as well. We can talk about that later, but essentially that is not that guy's going to try to reroute, but he's not supposed to get in there. That's where the corner is supposed to get. So that's just breaking down 2 field coverages and 2 boundary coverages right there before we really jump into the RPO stuff. All right. Any questions with split field coverages before I go any further? All right. Now, once again, everybody got to see my my exos there. All right. I'm assuming everybody can see this screen.
We aren't seeing anything right now, Coach. Sorry.
Don't see anything?
No.
Oh, man.
Oh, there you go. You're back.
I'm trying to screen share right here. All right. How about now?
No, that's going back. Oh, they say they see the picture.
All right. There should be a picture up of, it says questions for RPO install.
I don't see it, but I'm seeing people saying they. Some people are saying no. Hold on. Try to redo that. Sorry.
All right.
Someone said try pulling the tab left or right on the screen there.
All right. We're trying to.
Okay.
We good?
It says you are sharing screen. I see your desktop now.
All right. Oh, man. Never mind. May not be able to do that. I'll have to read them off. All right. Just exit out of there.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to read to you kind of what we do when we go to RPOs. I had it on the Exos, but it's acting up on. So when I'm installing RPOs, there's a list of questions that we go through. Number 1, where is my quarterback protected? All right, so I'll give everybody kind of a second here. So if they want to write these things down, another thing that you can do is I can email some of this stuff out. If anybody wants to shoot me an email at bdearmon@ku.edu, I can share out kind of how we lay out the RPOs and these questions in as well. So number 1, where is my QB protected is the biggest thing. Number 2, what is his pre and post snap reads? He has to understand the pre and post snap side of things. Number 3, this is a big one. All right. I kind of explained to you how I developed the routes. But number 3, what hurts the run play? What hurts the run play that we're running right now? And I'll kind of get into one of the big run plays that hurt us and our answer to it. Number 4, and I think this is a big one because we probably got a few defensive guys even in this thing now. You better have an answer, or your quarterback better have an answer for 3 things. When you're wanting to go all out and do RPOs, defenses are going, number 1, they're going to man you up. So you better have some type of man answer built into your RPO system or that you've got ready in your pocket to get to right now. What we usually do is we give our quarterback one or two, what we call manswers. Manswers or man answers. He's given 2 manswers a week of, hey, if I call an RPO, they give you a press man look. You have the freedom to check into this right now. You have maybe a rub route, maybe a QB run, maybe something like that. But he's got a couple of answers in his pocket. The second thing you better have an answer for is odd or this new tight front or bare front box look, because a lot of people are starting to give these odd looks. So you better scheme-wise have answers for that, so that you can make sure you're putting your QB in the right situation where he's not confused where his read's going to be. So odd and tight front answers. And then the last one that we always talk about is blitz. He better have an answer for blitz. So they may not be playing man. They may be playing rolling to cover 3. They may be getting something else. So there better be a blitz answer in your RPO system. So that's the biggest thing. So I'll repeat it one more time. Number 1 for man. You better have an answer for man. Better have an answer for odd or bare front. What is your tight front answers scheme-wise? And then last, what is your blitz answer? So I'm gonna start drawing up some of our base RPOs and how we teach it. And then I'm gonna make sure that we have time at the end for some Q&A if anybody's got one. So our first thing that we talk about is C gap. If I have a C gap read, it means triple option to my quarterback. So C gap equals triple option. And I see a lot of times where people, I watch even games on Sunday. I watch Friday night film. I watch teams that we're playing against, we're breaking down on tape, that are letting a C gap defensive end free. They're letting a C gap player run free, but the quarterback is reading a second or third level RPO, and that guy's getting hit because we assume that C gap player is going to stay at the line of scrimmage. We assume that he's going to squeeze, and that we assuming, I got taught as an early age, meant something. I can't say this on the PG recording, but I can't assume. I can't assume that guy's going to stay there. So we never stay in the pocket to do a C gap read. That way I keep my franchise, I keep my guy standing upright without getting hit on that play. C gap reading means triple option. So our first C gap read, everything the down will draw is going to be left hash. We are a field and boundary oriented offense. So left hash, we're going to do a field zone read with a bubble late option. So the way that we teach our quarterback, doesn't matter what front we get, doesn't matter what looks we get in the box on the back end, we're going to handle this thing. I'm going to draw this against robber coverage first off and invert. So this is robber, invert, and I'm running our field zone read. So we're going to push the zone to the boundary. All right, so we've got C gap blocking by the tackle. We'll try our best to get 2 double teams. H-back is going to 3-step duck walk to the C-gap player. And then he's going to arc release the C-gap player. We used to call it a veer release back when I was in high school, those tight ends. And he's going to peek eyes to the mic. Because first thing that we've got to do is we've got to protect our franchise. And if they scrape us, you do not want a mic linebacker hitting your quarterback. So we're going to peek the mic to make sure that he stays in the fit. If he leaves, then that H-back will block his outside pad for the quarterback. All right, then he'll work up to the safety. We never touch the Sam linebacker with the H-back. Sam linebacker is on the quarterback for the triple option pitch, but we don't pitch, we throw it instead. Our tailback will take his inside zone path. Our inside zone path is just chase the butt of the center. We don't overcomplicate it for that tailback. We will have 2 different types of bubble out here. We can throw a bubble now, and that's based off the Sam linebacker pressure. If the Sam blitzes, we can stand up, throw the bubble right now. All right. I see I've got a question about what I meant by H-back. Our H-back is our fancy word for fullback. We put the fullback in the B gap in our 20 personnel set. So H-back for us is our fullback, tight end body. All right. And then back here, we're going back to the bubble. We can throw the bubble now. We can throw a bubble late as well. So what I'm going to do is the X receiver. We used to teach MDM blocking. So MDM meant most dangerous. We no longer teach most dangerous. We now teach D gap blocking. So that way all 11 are talking the same terminology. He's going to block the D gap fitter. Well, D gap fitter in this invert look is that rover. He's got to go right now and go in there and get him. He can cheat his split to help himself to get that block as well, if we know we're going to get a lot of invert into the boundary. So now this is a C gap read. So I'm going to read that C gap defensive end. If I'm playing an odd tight front, the C gap player is now the Mike because he's a little bit outside of that 4-eye. So I'm going to read how the Mike fits it. So instead of telling him this is a defensive end read, it's a gap read of who's in the gap. So the end takes the back. I now pull it and I attack the Sam linebacker. The Sam linebacker is now the my pitch man. That's who I'm going to pitch the veer pitch off of. But instead of pitching that, we'll attack his inside pad. And then if he triggers me late, I can throw the bubble out there late on that cruise bubble. So this is our first C gap RPO that we put in on day one. Any questions with the zone read bubble? I've got one now that says, do we ever just have the X run a route? For us, when we're just calling this, it's a no. If I want, there's other ones that we attach because everything for us is one word. We do one word plays. So they learned this one word play right here. If I want to attack that area, we'll have other ways and other RPOs that we can attack that area. All right, one more question before I get arc release duck walk. All right, so arc release duck walk. That H-back is going to inside, outside, inside, just like he was an offensive lineman taking his steps, like on the old board drills. So inside, outside, inside, and then he's going to dip release that C-gap player. Now, what we do is if that C-gap player gets upfield, that H-back, fullback is reading that as well. So if he's upfield, he knows the quarterback's going to give it. He's just going to continue on up his path through the inside now of that pass rushing upfield defensive end, and he'll find work inside. All right, so I'm going to move on now to our second C-gap read. All right, so I'll erase that one. Next C-gap read is our boundary C-gap read. All right, let's say I'm playing against an odd tight against this look here. We try our best not to push out of the box. We try our best to push vertical, since these guys out here are who the quarterback is responsible for. So we try our best not for that tackle against that 4-eye to go out. So we're going to get a vertical push on that 4-eye up to the mic now, since we're going inside zone right. We're going to figure out which way we're going to block these three. Base install is to go double team the nose up to the wheel, and the tackle is going to get that 4-eye off the backside edge. The H-back now, you can either same sided, or now I'm going to give you a look of a split zone look of the C-gap read. He's going to look like split zone, and we're going to arc release that C-gap bandit. If that bandit gets upfield, the H-back will insert inside of it. If the bandit squeezes, he's going to still dip release, veer release that guy. And when he comes around that edge, he's going to get his shoulders square with the line of scrimmage, and he's looking scraper to safety. The same rules he had on the field one. He has scraper to safety. Make sure the scraper doesn't hit the quarterback first, and then I'm going to get an outside pad to safety. The X receiver is running a mandatory outside release go ball, but his eyes are on this safety. If that safety gets hard over the top in a cover 2 look, we out-turn sit it at 10 yards on the sideline. That way we can beat a cover 2 look against that. The field wide, his job is to get in here and dig the D-gap player, not the MDM anymore for us. It's the D-gap player. That way we're all speaking the same language. Now I start giving my quarterback freedom. If I look out here and say, this guy cannot block him, that guy's too tight, and we're in some kind of situation where the vertical push is compromised because he's so tight. The quarterback can look out here and fix this D gap pre-snap. So this is my pre-snap fix. He can't block him, so the quarterback can give him a stick route. He can give him a bubble route. He can give him different options that fixes this. All right. Now, some of you guys may just want to continue blocking that instead of asking your 15, 16-year-old high school quarterback to figure all that out. Just get in there and continue MDM or D-gap blocking that guy to the field. The quarterback now will read the C-gap player in the boundary on that zone read. Tailback's chasing the butt of the center. If this guy takes the back, quarterback pulls it, and now we attack the corner. The corner is my triple option pitch man for the C-gap read. If the corner falls off and the safety stays down the fit, we throw the go ball for a touchdown, right? You think back 2013 Alabama versus Auburn. We pulled one late against Alabama with about 40 seconds left. Nick Marshall threw Sammy Coates up the sideline, tied the ball game. All the same exact play. If the safety gets over the top and the corner traps and gets in here on your quarterback, that's when I make that sideline throw at 10 yards. If neither one of those things happen, the corner continues to bail, then the quarterback tucks it and he'll run the ball there. All right, so I'll take a couple. All right, if you have the pre-snap fix on, all right, I'm trying to read all these questions. If you have the pre-snap fix on, is QB throwing that pre-snap? Yes. So he makes a decision. We can't block this. So he gives, let's say, a stick route. So on that stick route, I have to ask, hey, you better make sure, if I'm throwing pre-snap throws, you better make sure you're at 95% completions on pre-snap throws. I don't want incompletions. I don't want iffies. So if I look out there and I can fully say, yes, that's an easy completion, then you have the right to just catch and throw. There is no ride. I'm never going to ask my quarterback to read to his back's side. Wherever his back turns to, that's his pre-snap side, and that's just a catch and throw rapid fire. One other question, why not just have the wild run a stick route every time versus trying to dig out that guy? I don't want to live in just straight RPO world all day, every day. I don't want to put everything on the QB. I want to run the football. I want to run the zone read play. And I also want to have a mentality of our receivers. Instead of getting them to run routes with a full game, I want our receivers to have a physical mentality as well. And I think that kind of sets the tone of your football team when that guy goes in there and puts a hit and puts a body on a body in there. I want to be able to physically run that thing. The other thing that this does, say he's in between world, an apex world where your QB doesn't love this, and then we hand it, and this guy makes a tackle for a 3-yard gain. I'm going to be ticked off at myself that we got the 3-yard gain and we wasted that receiver that's just standing there at 5 yards with his hands up in the air. All right, so that's why we do it. Now, it could be different for what you want to do and your mentality, but that just kind of answers what we want to do. So let me go back. All right, so that's our 2 inside zone C-gap reads for us. All right, the next one I'm going to get to. All right, so I hit our C-gap reads, our D-gap reads. When I get to D-gap reads, all right, D-gap reads means stay in pocket. All right, so a while ago, the quarterback learned I am hot off the C-gap. Well, I fixed that as a schemer because he's never truly hot off the C-gap because he's running out of it. He's reading the guy to run out of that play. Now, on D-gap reads, I've given him the freedom to stay in the pocket. You do not run out unless one thing happens, and we'll get to that here in a second. So our first D-gap read in our base formation, someone asked earlier about just throwing this thing when that safety was too tight on the earlier play. I want to have plays in the playbook where the receivers are still blocking them. All right. This one, we are running three routes. So let's say I get a 4-2 box. I'm going to give an invert look in the boundary this time. We're going to push the zone to the field, or you can push it to the boundary. And I'll tell you how this play changes based off which way you push the zone because of the QB's rules. The base way, we're going to push inside zone to the field right here. We're going to do our best to get 2 double teams, right? If that's a 2-eye, the center is going to go try to work to the 3 technique. And these backside 2 are going to try to work the 2-eye up to the wheel backer. We're going to ask our H-back, fullback, now to duck walk through the C gap. And he has the C gap now. So the QB is going to learn on this play, I'm C gap to C gap protected. So if anything comes inside, I don't have nothing to worry about. I am protected on the interior side of things. The only thing I've got to fix is both outside D gaps. All right? C to C protected, I fixed the D gap. We run speed outs, 4-step speed outs by our X and our Z. Our Y is going to run that 4-step out turning hitch. All right? We don't turn in because I don't want to bring him and him drift closer to that Sam linebacker. We out turn and we sit. We sit so that 2-read corner doesn't come in and knock his head off when he runs out of that thing. If we get some type of man coverage with this route, then he runs out. So he's going to sit it unless man. Man coverage, you run out of the thing. All right, tailback still running inside zone, chasing the butt of the center. Now, because on this play, my quarterback is turning here to ride this inside zone. So wherever your back is to, that is your pre-snap side. So both of these routes, the stick and the speed out, are pre-snap decisions. We call this outside route a gift. Some of you guys have terms that are already built into your system called access. Means if I have access to it, I can throw it right now. I wouldn't change your terminology. Just use what you've got. We call it a gift. You call it whatever you need to call it, okay? The second one, that stick route, is to fix the D-gap player. If they do not have a D-gap defender that is threatening the run play, don't throw this. That's what we got to overcoach our quarterback. A lot of people are calling RPOs because they want their quarterback to throw the ball 40 times a game. I call RPOs because I want to throw RPOs about 7-8 times a game because I want to run the football. So I stress it to our Q. Can this guy stop the run? It's not about throwing a hitch route. Nobody bought a ticket to come to your game to see you throw a hitch route, okay? I throw this ball when he is going to stop the run, right? If he's not tight enough to stop the run, then I'm going to ride read the play, and now this side over here is my post-snap ride. I will post-snap whichever of these 2 players they put in the D gap. In this look, it's that safety. If that safety went in my ride, I can get him in the box. If he doesn't get in the box fit, I hand the thing off, I fake the throw. If he gets in the fit, then I pull it, and I can make that speed out throw on that sideline there. Now, the other way that we can change the same exact play is I can change my O-line's push. And all it means to them is run zone the other way. So nothing changes for them, those guys. And we put the tailback going this way. We run inside zone now to the left or to the boundary. We put the H-back, fullback to the field C-gap. It's still C-gap protected. It's still called the exact same play. Just for our terminology, we just push the O-line the other way. So now the quarterback's rules are going to change, though. Not really, though, because whatever side I turn my back to is my pre-snap side. So now the X is the pre-snap, and now the Y is the post-snap. The gift always stays the gift. The access throw is always the access throw over to the field on this play. If you get an off corner, inside leverage, that quarterback can make that throw, that's a gift. Now I'm going to post-snap the D-gap player to the field. In this cover 4 look, it is now that Sam linebacker. If I can ride read and get that Sam linebacker to get into the box fit, I'll pull it and I'll make that throw. All right, the one thing that changes for D-gap reads for us, that's a rule breaker, is if I will never ride read a blitzer and stay in the pocket. As soon as I get a blitzer to the side of my ride, he is now the D-gap player technically, even though they're probably shooting that inside. He's really the C gap player. His job is to contain now on that blitz. And now I will ride read him for a run. As soon as they blitz the side that I'm opening to, I no longer stay in the pocket for a throw. He either hands it, or if he comes too tight to take the back, then now the quarterback can pull it to run it. So we built that into the system as our blitz answer. Got to always have an answer to pressure in all these things. All right, so I'll take a few if we got any questions with the flat stick inside zone concept here.
Coach, I'm not sure if you see the Q&A button there, but you're getting a bunch of questions in that Q&A.
Got a bunch of them stacked up.
Yep.
I see it now. All right, how deep is the four-step hitch? All right, does it match the pace in the backfield? All right, that four-step out-turning hitch takes us to about 5 to 6 yards. All right, and we've never had an issue with any timing that goes on in the backfield with the ride. He's usually turning out of that thing at the end of my ride so I can throw it out of there. All right, another question is, what is your QB's footwork and coaching points on the ride? How long does he ride? All right, I say I'm running zone left here for me, the way I'm facing. I'm going to pick up the foot of the side I'm turning to and just put it right back down for timing's sake. So I'm going right foot, and then I front foot lead with my left foot to get a 45-degree angle. And I just go from instep to instep. I do not move off of that spot. I don't want to take him closer to the line of scrimmage. I don't want to bring him closer to what all is happening in front of me. So I'm going to instep to instep and be ready to whip those hips around to my target, whichever way I want to throw that ball. Another good question I have, what was our receiver splits? All right, and then I'm going to move on. I know I got a ton of questions here. Then I'm going to move on to the next one. What we do on most of our on most of our plays in general, our field slot is on the hash. If I was in high school, that would put him 2 yards inside the hash. We put that field slot on the hash, and he's always on the hash. All right, that way I can coach that quarterback up on that space between the tackle and that receiver that's on the hash. The outside receiver to the field is 3 above the numbers, 3 inside the numbers. And on this play, we tell the X that he can vary that, but I don't want to get on the bottom or outside the numbers into the boundary. So he can be middle of the numbers, he can be top of the numbers. If he wants to cheat in and hide the split for when he needs to get in there and dig that inverted safety out in MDM blocking or D-gap blocking, he can make it look like that tight split as well. All right, so I'm going to get to, I know I got a ton of questions, but I want to make sure I get all the content here. All right, the next one we want to get to is our split zone glance. And I know there's a lot of people that do split zone glance, and I'm going to show you how we do it. It still falls in the D-gap read world. Left hash play, same formation. I've got my 2 receivers to the field. I've got my single receiver into the boundary. We're going to take our H-back. Because we're running split zone, we're going to push the zone to the field. I'll give you a look of tight front this time. All right, now we're going to push inside zone to the right, to the field. So against this tight front, we're going to double that 4-eye up to the mic. We'll double the nose to the wheel. Tackles on the 4-eye backside. The H-back is coming in split zone and getting the C-gap player into the boundary right there. You're going to tight hug that tackle and get the space there. Tailback still running inside zone path. To the boundary, we're going to run a 7-step glance, which is a 7-step slant. It's not a high post. We tell that X that he protects this quarterback from the corner. So if the corner's tight, it may turn into looking like a dig route almost when you see it on film. All right, to the field now, because this now is the side I'm opening to, so this was our post-snap side. So the way we developed this play is we looked out here and we said, all right, which 2-receiver concept can we now fix the D-gap with to the field pre-snap? We've already got stick built into one of our other plays. We've got bubble built into another play. So we just try to figure out how we can add 2-receiver concepts to the field. The one that we did on this one was double slants. So I'm never going to go into a game and call double slants much because it's built into our RPO system. The way that we teach our quarterback on this double slant, once again, this is the pre-snap side to the field. The inside slant I only throw when I have pressure to the field, when I'm hot over there. Going back to the hot, C-to-C protection. So if they bring late pressure here, I can throw that hot that fixes that Sam linebacker blitz right there. So I'm going to put him on it right now. The outside is still your gift, or as some people on the tape will say that they call that an access throw. Whatever way you want to call it. It's either a gift or an access. If I've got a tight Sam linebacker that's close to the fit, I've got an off cover for a corner, and your quarterback sees that green grass right there and knows that he can complete that ball, he can catch it and deal it right now. I don't have to tell the back because the back is attacking the other side of the quarterback. So the quarterback has all freedom to get that thing out of his hands right now. If he doesn't love either one of these, if he doesn't love that and doesn't have a hot, then I'm going to post snap the boundary D-gap fitter. If they are in this cover 4 look, then it's going to be the safety. If they're trying to do some type of cover 2 trap, it will be the corner, whoever's in the fit in the boundary. So if I can get this cover 4 safety down in that fit, I will now replace him with the throw off his rear end. If he slow fits it, if he stands on his heels, that tells the quarterback to hand it off. Worst case scenario is we get 4 and 5 yard runs because I made sure he's not an immediate fitter and he's not an immediate fitter. All right, so that is our split zone glance play. Going back to what I just said in the previous one, if I get pressure, say they're wanting to bring this pressure into the boundary. If they pressure your post-snap side, the side that I open and ride to, I am hot in that gap. I'm responsible for the D gap. And I do not want to pull and stay in the pocket to throw when they blitz my gap that I am post-snap responsible for. So I will now turn this into a ride read. I will ride read the blitzer. And I even had a cue this past year that handed it and then threw his body into the blitzer because he knew that's his man. I've got to block him one way or the other. All right. If I'm worried about him at all, block him. All right. One way or the other, you got to fix him. Let me open back the Q&A. Got all these cues built up here. All right. What is your depths on your slants? Both 45 angle or Z flatter for open grass. What we teach, as crazy as this thought is, the Y learns that only time he gets the ball right here is when the Sam linebacker blitzes. So in any other look, his job is to protect his buddy outside of him. So he's going to take a 3-step slant, and his path is the outside shoulder of the Sam backer. That way he can protect the outside slant. Only time I'm getting the ball, once again, is when the Sam linebacker blitzes. So I'm taking one for the team right here, and I'm walling the Sam linebacker off. The outside receiver's taking a 3-step slant, and his job is to, if I've got an off corner, he's going to kind of cruise out of that. There's no reason to be full speed running out of a slant and going to the other 10 defenders as fast as I can. I'm going to cruise out. He's going to cruise out at probably that's going to be more of a 70 degree, to be honest with you. I want our slants to look more like digs almost, mini digs, instead of kind of that upfield 45-degree angle. If I've got a tight corner, I've got to get 3 steps. I've got a big body, big boy, that guy, and I've got to come flat out of it. Now, at the same time, that's how we teach it, but I'm going to ask that quarterback, is it a gift or an access throw if you've got a tight corner outside? So that way you can at least teach your receivers that concept, but quarterback shouldn't be throwing that against that press coverage. All right, take another one here. What do you tell your tailback on RPOs? How do you get him out of his way to QB those pre-snap route? I think I hit that one a little bit a while ago. We kind of built in our pre-snaps opposite the tailback. So the tailback's taking a left step here. So when he goes to throw his pre-snap option over here, the tailback's making his step this way, so he's not in my way on this play here. So we've tried to build our answers in that fixes that. All right, so now I'm going to, I know there's a ton of questions, but I want to make sure we get to the next one. And somebody just already called it out right here. Jonathan Lowe already called out our next RPO. All right, so inside zone is the easiest way to do RPOs because as you see, there's no interior gap problem, which gets me to power. Power is, you have to coach your quarterback up when you get to power. And here's how. As simple as this sounds, I'm going to start getting into the gap scheme RPOs. And everybody's a little worried and scared to run gap scheme RPOs, and here's why. But here's how I explain it to my quarterbacks. And if you explain it this way, they will understand it a lot better. The great part about power is I'm taking a backside gap and adding it to the front side. I'm going to take the backside guard and pull him to the front side. So I took a gap here and added the gap here. And when I explain it that way, then they understand that that means we are losing a gap on this side of the field. I'm asking the center to block A gap to B gap. I'm asking the tackle to block B gap to hinging back to C gap. And there's a verse, I think in Matthew 6, that says you can't serve two masters. There's no possible way that both of those guys can serve two different gaps. So we get our gap down blocking. Our fullback's going to J block that defensive end. We pull for the mic. We gap seal hinge here. So on any of our diagrams that I ever show my quarterback, he will have an arrow right there that says hot gap. I've got to understand if they bring any pressure to the gap seal hinge, I am not throwing a late RPO because they are going to hit me in the back. And I make them sign an insurance waiver when I go over this with them. So if they do pull it and throw one, I can say, hey, I gave you all this info. I told you were going to get hit. So now you can't blame me for it. Now, we're going to run the two receiver spot out here. All right. The Z is taking the 2 steps, and he's coming back down the stem to catch the 2 receiver spot. The Y is protecting for the 2 receiver spot. Whoever triggers that spot, who's normally going to be the corner in most situations. Now, into the boundary, we're going to run an expanded hitch. If the quarterback, anytime the single receiver is the pre-snap expanded hitch, the quarterback can give him any other quick game he wants to. So if he wants to give him a slant, he wants to give him the speed out, he wants to give him a fade, quarterback has the freedom to look out here and give him any of those things. But just the install play is an expanded hitch. All right? The tailback is going to slide and dive down an A gap. And if A gap is open, he takes it. If A gap is not open, he gets in the hip pocket of the pulling guard to hit power that everybody knows. Now, this, because the quarterback on this play is turning 90 degrees and riding downhill. It almost looks like the old school midline, how I'm going to ride it straight downhill with a 90-degree footwork. This side over here is where I turn my back to. So this expanded hitch is my pre-snap. If I can look out there and throw the hitch, you have the freedom to do it. But I ask the quarterbacks too, do I have to throw a hitch? Do you have to throw a 5-yard hitch route? I would much rather have a 7-yard downhill power run play than catch a 5-6 yard hitch. This is to fix the D gap. So this boundary safety is tight to the fit, then throw it. If neither of those two, between the corner and the safety, are tight to the fit, then there's no reason to throw it. It's to fix a gap. All right, so this is pre-snap fixing the D gap. I'm on post-snap now. Ryan Reed, Sam linebacker. It's a Sam linebacker, comes downhill and gets in the fit in my ride. Then I pull it and I throw the 2 receiver screen. Now, the problem with this 2 receiver screen out here is some people are probably going to ask, what if you get man? And I went over this at the beginning of the podcast or the interview here, is you have man answers built in. I'm probably not leaving this on. We're probably going to check into whatever our answer is for that week. So this is an off coverage concept. I want to attack whoever's getting off coverage with my RPO concept. All right. So that is our power, first power RPO that we're going to put in. All right. So I'm going to open up some Q&A here. All right. How much pistol versus offset back? About 2 years ago, we went to pistol, probably 2.5, 3 years ago, to be honest with you. And I kind of stumbled upon it because I was listening to our defensive coaches at Arkansas Tech in a defensive meeting. I was eavesdropping with a solo cup at the window, and heard them scheming up our backs alignment. We used to not pistol anything. We were offset on everything. And I heard them scheming our backs alignment in spring ball. And I said, you know what? Went to my running back coach, said, hey, let's try doing some pistol today, just to mess with our defense. And come to find out that we end up loving pistol. So we're going to pistol as much as we can. But we still offset. I'd say we're 50-50, to be honest with you, between offset and pistol, because we're still going to change it up. This is the install way of running power. Week 3, we may offset power. We may cross face power. All right, so we're going to mix up our back alignment as much as we can. All right, what about against an 8-man box is another question. See, I'm no longer in the world of counting boxes. I don't want the quarterback out there trying to count numbers. If we're spread, they got 6 in the box, do this. If we're in 20, they got 7 in the box, do this. It's more about fixing a gap. So if he fixes this player and he fixes this player, there's no way they can play 8 in the box. All right. Only way they can play 8 in the box on us is if they just man everything up in that. And then you go back to your man answer. All right. The last button just came in. What are your advantages of pistol versus regular shotgun look? Advantages of pistol is I eliminate the defense's scheme. Defenses are now scheming up where your back's at. So, I'll give you an example. If the back was over here, a lot of defenses know that this is your post-snap side and this is your pre-snap side. So this guy, this fitter, is going to fit right now more. And now they're going to slow fit more to the side of the back. Other teams are starting to scheme up the zone read. Your big zone read team, they know what side your read's to if the back's on that side of the field. A lot of people are blitzing the back to try to mess with a lot of these reads as well. So that is our advantage of going to the pistol. All right, so now I'm going to get to, I know there's a ton of Q&As built up there. I'm going to get to our next RPO off of the power. And then we're going to get to power read. I saw somebody earlier mention power read, so I'm going to hit power read. All right, so our next RPO that we do, because we do so much power read as well, we put an RPO in that looks like power read. I don't true RPO power read, and I'll explain that on the next one. We're going to run a cross-face power. So in the backfield action, the first 3 steps looks like power read. That back's heels are on the quarterback's toes. He's 3-stepping. On that right step, he's going right, left, right. On that 3rd step, he's looking to get downhill in A-gap or follow the pull. We've still got the same power play happening in front of back blocking, A-B. He's pulling there. He's going to J-block. Now, we do this because so many teams are scheming up our backs alignment. So when we make this look like power read, this end is more upfield because teams are trying to mesh charge opposite the back. So this is a great answer to mesh charging ends. So when he tries to mesh charge, we get a great kick out there. All right, so we're going to get, say we're playing robber coverage. We run the expanded hitch over the boundary because that's my pre-snap single receiver play, all right? Expanded hitch, pre-snap, you got it. I've got to understand, quarterback, that we're losing a gap backside. So we call that the hot gap. If there's any pressure backside, you fix it by handing it off, getting in the way of it. You can fix it with that expanded hitch. But you understand, I'm not late pulling, rod reading, throwing a deep ball off of a backside pressure. Our field slot is running what we call a MOFO. MOFO means a middle field read, all right, for us. In the air raid system, they were reading open and close of how to attack it. He runs a go unless the safety gets over the top. If the safety gets over the top, on his 7th step, he runs a glance. All right, so this could be a seam or it could be a glance, and that slot receiver is going to read how the safety plays him. Outside, we're running a 12-yard curl. That 12-yard curl is probably going to be 7 to 9 steps and coming back down the stem. The quarterback is going to fix the field D-gap post-snap. In this robber coverage, the free safety is the field D-gap fitter. So if he comes downhill to help create that 7th man to get in the box from the field, then we'll throw the go ball for a potential touchdown, we hope. All right, if they change this coverage up to the field and they give us true old school cover 4 type look, cover 2 type look. Now the Sam linebacker is the D-gap fitter. So I'm going to read the Sam backer, and now we should be running the glance right there and there behind it. Quarterback will stay on the spot. We're not going to shuffle this, and I don't want to leave the spot. I'm going to instep to instep read this. Left foot to right foot, and be ready to turn those shoulders for that hip throw. If we get press, we've given him his 2 press options weekly of what he can get into with those 2 receivers over there. All right, so this is our power seam RPO. And then after this one, I'll get into our power read. Take a few questions off this one real quick. What's RB and QB depth in pistol? Our quarterback's heels are always at 5. Our tailback is going to base his split, base his alignment off the play. If we're running inside zone, he's probably at 7. If we're running power, it's probably 7. All right, other plays, we change it. And I would advise you to base it off of your mesh. What you go out and you play with your quarterback and tailback, and you figure out what your mesh needs to be. But I told you what ours was. All right. Do you ever throw your power seam read to the outside receiver to the field? In 4 years of running this play, I have never seen the curl thrown ever. All right. But this is a 2 receiver concept for us in our drop back world. So for us to teach it, it's easy to teach that way. We could probably put a hitch out there and call it the access throw. But I don't want to throw a 5-yard hitch when I could have got a 20-yard gain in the middle of the field off of that glance. And that's why we don't do that. Nothing takes him to the curl. That was the last question. I hope I answered that. We just run a curl. We don't tell that Z receiver that he has no chance of getting it. He could technically do jumping jacks out there. All right. So I'm going to get now. I'm going to go back real quick. So I forgot something in the RPOs earlier, and you can understand why I don't count boxes. Somebody asked about counting boxes earlier. I'm going to go back to that first D-gap RPO that we put, or the second D-gap RPO, the glance slant. So we had 2 slants to the field. We run the glance to the boundary. I can change formations and still run the same plays. I'll give you an example of this. So instead of, now you'll see why I don't count numbers, because if I call the same glance slant play, no matter what formation I'm in, the quarterback's rules are going to stay the same. Say I want to get into 21 personnel. I want to put the tight end with his hand down to the field. And I'm going to put the fullback in the backfield, that H-back fullback. The X is in the boundary, Z's to the field. And now I'm in 21 personnel. And I want to run the same play. If I'm going based off of box counts, my box counts changes based off the formation. I don't want my quarterback out there figuring out, all right, what formation we in. So now let me count my box count. Now, instead of having an inside slant, I just am going to fix the D-gap with the tight end. The tight end is part of the O-line's push. So he blocks the D-gap player. Our O-line still gets C to B. Our fullback comes backside to C. So now I've protected the Q technically from D-gap all the way to backside C-gap. The field is still running his slant, and that was the gift, or some of you guys call that the access. So if I want to get heavy, I want to get bigger personnel on the field, I can still call the same RPOs. So this is still pre-snap. If they give me my best guy out there in a matchup situation, and I like the space, then I have the freedom to catch it and throw it right now. That's the pre-snap side because the back's coming here. And that matches up with the base install version of running this play. Now I'm going to post-snap the boundary glance the same way we post-snapped it earlier. So that's why I do not do box counts, because I can run the same plays out of multiple formations, including 12 and 21 personnel sets. All right, so take a couple questions. I'm going to hit power read real quick, sum it up. All right, did you do a lot of 12 personnel at Bethel? I did a ton of 12 personnel at Bethel because I had 2 6'4" and 6'5" tight end that I got there and inherited. So I love 12 personnel there because it fit our personnel that we had. All right. Power read. I'm hitting power read, then I got to go because I know somebody else is probably speaking. I've taken up so much time here. All right. Power read. If I run power read, say I'm going to run it to the boundary out of a 2x2 set. It's gap down. We're pulling a guard. Gap still hinging there. Doesn't matter what box they give me. All right. We go heels on toes. We're running power read here. We're going to block wheel to alley. We're blocking corner or safety with that guy there. What's the problem with power read? Power read, if they blitz me to the read side, if they have two off the edge to the read side, is what hurts power read. So instead of RPO in this, we put an answer that fixes the problem of the run play. We also have a hot gap right there because the guard's pulling. So to fix the pressure or to fix the blitz here, we run double slants now on the backside of power read. The inside slant is a hot, the outside slant is still my gift throw. So if they give me any look, if that outside slant's open, quarterback can catch, get depth, and throw. If they blitz me on either side, he can throw the inside slant right now as a hot throw. Anything else, I'm going to read the C-gap player into the boundary on the power read. All right. Take a couple questions, and then I think I got to sum it up. All right. What is your base RPO that you attach to Buck Sweep? There is no RPO on Buck Sweep. All right. That may hurt some people's feelings, but since I'm using a receiver to crack the box, you can't post snap an RPO on Buck Sweep. Now, we've done some pin and pull RPOs out of 3x1 with an attached tight end into the boundary that we've kind of played with, but no true RPOs off the Buck Sweep. All right. The running back steps in the pistol. Depends on the play. If we're running inside zone, he's going to take a 45-degree step here and then kind of do a swing, a crossover swing step with the second foot. If I'm running power, downhill power out of pistol, he's going to slide and dive straight downhill off the pistol there. Is it easier to add gaps for 12 personnel or et cetera to make it easy on your QB for RPOs? It absolutely is, Byron. If you've got a young Q, it is so much easier to get in 12 and 21 personnel and just give him one gap to be responsible for. Let a tight end fix the D gap on one side of the field and let him just have a post-snap read on the other side of the field. I know that it built to look like power read. However, does the QB have the ability to run on the earlier play, on the power read seam, on the power seam? No, he cannot run on that one. That one he's staying on the spot because it is true power. It's not power read. All right. Am I out of time here? Who's moderating me here?
Yeah, Coach. You can keep going if you want to go. We're kind of on your time right now. Whatever you want to do.
Perfect. I just want to make sure. All right. I had Jonathan Lowe has asked me about a specific play that I will hit real fast. All right. This play we put in a few years back because we had two really good tailbacks at Arkansas Tech. So we tried to find ways to scheme to keep the two tailbacks on the field. We're going to get in 20, some people call it 20 speed. We're going to put two tailbacks in the backfield with our X, Y, and Z. Say I'm playing the 4-2 box. All right, we're going to quick motion our boundary tailback to the field. And when I want to snap this ball when he's behind the tackle. So we work the timing of that in pre-practice, CQ, center quarterback exchange, we work the timing of that play. I do not want them to see that we're getting into a 3x1 yet. That's why we want to snap it when he's behind the tackle still. But I'm getting into a fast motion 3x1. And anytime I get to a 3-receiver set, I've got to now read the mic. The mic becomes my post-snap read. So he's going to run a flare swing to the field. I'm going to see how the mic runs with him. We're going to block for the swing on the edge. The Y has the Sam, the Z has the corner, and we're going to run on the high safety. If into the boundary now, we run that expanded hitch. That is my gift, or as some of you guys call the access throw. If they give me that, catch it, throw it, let's go. In the motion, if the mic stays in the box, I drop step, get depth, and I put that swing ball on him. If the mic vacates, that other tailback is going to run his inside zone path, and we run a zone lock, is how we refer to it to the O-line. The left side, the center, left guard, left tackle, have inside zone rules. So he's got C-gap. We'll double team that nose and this look to the will backer. And now the right guard, right tackle are running a lock scheme where the guard is locking the number 1 D lineman. He's got him in base blocking. The tackle is locking the number 2 D lineman in a base blocking scheme. So now it's probably going to bend right there in the gap that Mike vacated from. So that is our Jonathan Lowe asked about a play a while ago. So that is our split tailback swing RPO. All right, and then I'll answer a few questions, and then thank you guys for all coming. All right, David Robinson. All right, I'm hoping that's the Spurs David Robinson. That'd be amazing if we get the Admiral on the RPO session here. Can you talk more about Manser's answers for your man? All right, so give me one that most people in the world know that they call arrow or dragon. If I'm in some type of post-snap RPO and they come up and they want to press both of these guys out here, doesn't matter what's going on in the box. If you see man, you can check into arrow. You can check into the dragon concept where the outside receiver is going to run slant and try to pick the Sam. The inside guy's going to set it up and get flat underneath it. That way we get into some type of pick or rub. So that would be one of our Mansers. I'm not going to go into the whole list of Mansers, but that's an example of one of our Mansers there. The QB checks into that. He can just drop step and get that ball out of there right now for that pick route. All right. What's your favorite red zone RPO versus man? All right. My favorite red zone RPO versus man is run the ball, if that helps you out there. All right. The one thing that I've learned about the RPO game and the man answers is nobody has eyes on the quarterback when they play man. So if you want to do some QB power, if you want to do some zone read, QB runs are really good in the red zone when they're wanting to play man. All right, the last one here I'll go with is Byron. I'll do Byron. I'll do one other. Gus and Chad use numbers for positions, and I went away from it. All right, so if you didn't know, the X receiver in the Malzahn, in the Chad Morris, and those guys, that tree, the boundary receiver is a 9, the field is a 5, and the Z is a 2. All right, and that kind of goes back to the old school wing T system. I went away from it because that's just what I knew my whole life of playing ball is just X, Y, and Z. No matter if it was playing high school ball for dad, playing arena ball, playing college ball, we just always use X, Y, and Z, so that's why I went to it. Okay, and then one other one here is my RPO book available anywhere other than iTunes. The only way you can get that book with video in it is through iTunes, and we put it in a way where right after you read a chapter, there's video where you can click on and the video pops up and shows examples of the play. The only other way that I've done it in the past is if people email me and I can do some type of either Apple Pay or check by mail, and I can email them the PDF version of the book. But I didn't want to go to print and worry about all the headaches with printing the book and all that stuff. So that's why we did it that way. All right. Thank you guys for coming out and listening. I hope you got some answers to how and why we build the system the way that we do, how our quarterback fixes gaps instead of coaching based off of a corner or the Sam. He's a gap fixer for us. We call him he's the run game coordinator for us out on the field. So I hope you guys got something from it. Shoot me an email if you appreciate it. Give me a shout out online on Twitter. Shoot me an email if you have any other questions, want to learn something else, or just want to say how poor of a job I did today.
Thanks, Coach. I know Keith had to bump out of here real fast, but I know on behalf of him and everybody in here, thank you very much. We really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk some ball today.
Oh, thank you all for coming.